Hey, hello. This is John Davis here with Action Coach, Davis Business Coaching. And I've got with me today Justin Hughes. Justin has a number of different businesses, and he's going to share with us what his businesses are, what they do, and we'll just talk about his experience as a business owner. So with that, Justin, I'm just going to kick it off to you to introduce yourself and what you do.
Thank you, John. Justin Hughes with Diesel Grid. Back in 2008 to actually 2007, I quit my full-time job and went into business for myself, and I've been doing it ever since. Went into real estate right before the 2008 crash, and
Oh, good timing there. Great job.
yeah, and so been blessed with open doors in the transportation industry. Went back into the transportation industry in 2009 with Diesel Grid. And
So that was your background was transportation, got into real estate because it was booming. It busted. You stayed an entrepreneur, went back into transportation, but as an entrepreneur, not as an employee.
that's right. Yeah, just been blessed with some opportunities and just went with them.
So what does Diesel Grid do exactly?
So we are a asset-based transportation company that we do supply chain around Atlanta,
Okay.
from warehouse to warehouse, DC to manufacturing facilities, kind of like a first or final mile type things, but not so much as far as like residential, more of a business to business type model.
So deliveries, right? If I manufacture widgets and I want to ship them to my customer, I can call you.
Yep.
Or if I have a manufacturing business and I have two factories, one in Savannah, one in Atlanta, and I want to get my stuff from place to place, I can call you.
Definitely.
Okay. And then you have a second business that's somewhat complementary, sounds like.
Yeah. So a partner in a company called Limelight Printing and Design. I saw an opportunity with a gentleman that I knew do the vinyl wrapping and logo design, and that's doing pretty good. Been in operation for 2 years now.
Okay.
So
Why'd you get into Diesel Grid? What was the motivation there?
Yeah, really.
And the name too. How's the name come about?
So the name actually in 2009 was Hughes Express, and it just sounds a lot like everything else. And in 2014, we were just a owner operator at that time, operating under someone else's authority, which is being outlawed in some states right now. But in 2014, the economy is starting to come back around, and new opportunities are being approached, and so we said, hey, you know what? I need to flip this thing. Work with the SBDC, which is a government program that the Georgia offers, Small Business Development Center, and highly recommend them to anybody, especially the smaller guys coming in that don't really have an understanding of business. They were very helpful in kind of leading me in the right direction on what to research, what to find out, and where to go to operate a business. Just because you know how to drive a truck, don't mean you know how to run a business.
Yeah. So where'd they help you the most? Because I do run into them quite a bit. They're in my space, so I am curious. And maybe this is better for offline, but where did they really excel for you?
Yeah, it was really just kind of that 10,000 foot level of understanding a business. Being able to step out of the day to look at it in the past, into 5 years ahead, and to understand what it means to travel through all that space all the way down to the actual day, and
Right.
just bringing it all together is really helpful. And
Yeah. Okay. It sounds similar to what I do, right? So sometimes it's people it's putting together the plan. Sometimes it's the plan is I'll call it the qualitative strategic plan, the words, what are you going to do? And sometimes it's the quantitative plan. How do the dollars and cents add up? Right. Some people have a great story, but the dollars and cents don't add up.
That's right.
Some people focus on the dollars and cents and don't have a story that they can tell that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the
like
things I talk about is perspective. Like, what perspective are you looking at? So, talk about another company. There's a company out in Kansas City, Missouri, called Bellwether, and we did working with another government program, Georgia Mentor Protege Connection. That was a really amazing program there. But through that Bellwether program, they kind of do business analysis, like where are you at on each perspective, and they have 12 different perspectives highly recommend anybody in business utilizing that to kind of evaluate themselves. They take your questionnaire. It's almost like a DISC assessment for your
Mhm.
business. And then they look at it from the outside perspective and rate you and kind of give you, hey, this is where we think you are on this level. So you can actually have something to gauge to grow your company and have direction.
Yeah, I literally just did that with a business owner this morning. We have a 6 steps model, and in there's 20 components that we look at to figure out what level are you at and what are the key building blocks of the business to figure out what do you need to work on.
Yeah.
And there's some foundational components, just like building a business, building a house or a building. You need some foundational building blocks, and then there's some sequencing. Well, you need this before you work on this, right?
Yeah. Put a roof on the house, but you haven't poured a slab.
Exactly. I do like going back to the name. You're right. Hughes Express. Like my first thought was, oh, I've heard of that, which is good and bad, because you're like, I probably didn't, but it sounds like all the others. And you're like, well, okay, I know what they do because they have that type of name, but you don't differentiate yourself. Diesel Grid. You're like, huh? What that triggers something.
Yeah.
So what makes Diesel Grid different than the other express carriers?
Yeah. So underneath our name is our little, tagline, the dependable freight carrier. So I started my career. I was 19 years old, just working on a cross dock at night, and I did about every single job there is. I think by the time I was 21, I was a dock supervisor at another large carrier, an LTL carrier, and then when I got my CDL, went in and done every job as a driver. So that ground experience of actually putting your hands on it and making it happen, has been extremely helpful. So our company, we try to make it friendly for the employees. So small things like we have a reverse trailer number on the corner of our trailers. Well, that's so if the driver's ever needs to know what trailer he's got, he can look in his side mirror and it reads correctly to him. And have to try to decode it. It just is forward for the mirror. And so we try to take it down to that granular to try to these are guys that are actually making it happen. If they're pushing it, let's make it push.
Yeah, because you've done all those things. You know where the pain points are, so you can make it easy for them. And then I got to assume that helps your retention then.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we say, and this is probably the most horrible thing to ever say, but it really is just it's like being a human. So driving out and about, I every day I would go to a customer and they would be cussing some other company because the dispatcher told them that the driver was 5 minutes from their place, and it's 2 hours later and they still never showed up. And so they're upset. And so one of our things is that we say we've gotten more customers by being late than we have by being on time, because we communicate that. And it is what it is. This is Atlanta and it's trucking. Things happen. It's going to happen. The only thing constant in trucking is today is June 23rd and it's 12:15. That is the only thing that is constant. Everything else and will change. So we focus on that.
Yeah, so you can earn more trust by communicating with the customer when things aren't going well than just having everything go perfectly. Is what you're saying. Yeah. We talk about in our business, we talk about guarantees. I try to guarantee certain things. And then I've heard of a business that said they said they would, if we're not there within 15 minutes of our appointment time, you'll get a discount. And I've actually heard of a business that they then intentionally show up late so that people can go, oh wow, they were late, but they communicated to me and they honored their word and they gave me that discount and I got my discount. And their system is built to look like they were failing up front so that they could excel in the long run.
That's a marketing campaign right there.
I'm not advocating that to anybody.
Yeah.
But think about it. If you're getting something done at your house and you think you saved a good amount of money, you're going to tell people, oh man, I had a great day. I just saved $50 on that plumbing service. Why? Oh, he was late, but you know what? He called me. No, it was nice. It was no big deal. And I saved $50.
How many times have you heard that story where you took the day off waiting on the plumber to show up and they never show up and they never call you, or the cable guy is I think the typical story. And
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, now I got to take another day off, So
Yeah, they
yeah.
just would tell you. Yeah. Okay. Um, so what are some goals for the business that you're willing to share?
So I think right now in our world, we need growth through consolidation. I think that
The company or the industry?
well, our industry
Okay.
in general. I think there was a giant bubble created during COVID, and you saw prices of a brand new trailer that used to cost $39,000 jumped up to $72,000,
Mm,
and right now it's settled around 50. Uh, and you just see parts like that all over the place. Like there was a computer part that used to cost $1,000, it jumped up to 10,000, and it's back down to like 1,600. So I
right.
mean, you during that time frame though, if you spent and did a lot during that peak, your fixed costs are pretty extense.
Hmm.
And so I think with consolidation, get rid of a lot of redundancies as well. um
Yeah.
the or
So I think what you were saying is there's a price point here. Costs escalated. Prices really escalated because people knew it was the best time to get a price increase. Now the market's pushing it back down. Demand is blowing, but people have bumped up their fixed costs, and now they're upside down on the operator side because
yeah,
they got lazy, if you will, or comfortable on the fixed cost side. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. I think normalization is happening, right, from all the chaos. So I think right now is the perfect time to consolidate. And so if you imagine just two CEO costs, right? You don't need that if you
Oh,
consolidate.
absolutely. Yeah.
There's a whole
And if
bunch
you
of
have a better system, I mean, we didn't go into it, but I know I've had discussions with you about other things you're working on to make your back systems even more efficient and automated. Sounds like you're bringing, some other components into the business. You'll be in a better position to acquire because you can. It's one thing to apply that efficiency to your business, but you're going to apply it to multiple businesses. You can get a good return. So that's a good business move for sure.
definitely.
Um, um, so what are some major decisions you make, like for business owners, right? Business owners want to learn from other business owners because they've been through it. So what are some of the more difficult or bigger decisions you've had to make in the last few years, either that worked out or didn't work out that you think others can learn from?
Well, I think we all try to make strategic moves, and so just on my journey, I'll share one of the things that we did is so my business is located in Atlanta, and in order to expand and to grow, you kind of have to just be about it, right? And you kind of
Hmm.
got to do it, make it happen. So I kind of weighed the odds there. I was like, all right, I moved to Savannah 2 years ago. So I've been away from my daily business for 2 years, and to kind of see what that went through. And
Hmm.
I couldn't imagine if I would have did it the other way and went ahead and started another company and experienced or purchased another location. I couldn't imagine experiencing the struggles there and back at the original location. So that was very helpful to kind of do that because we did have some struggles there. That was definitely a learning curve of me stepping away from it and kind of understanding that. So calculated risk. I mean, stacking your odds, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing we do. Vegas knows how much they're going to win, how much they're going to lose, and they win. But by losing, they end up winning because they know how much they're going to win, right?
Right.
So I've got a poster in our office. It's literally got the Vegas sign, but it says "Welcome to the Fabulous Diesel Grid," and it's like stack the
Right.
odds to win for us. So that's one of the things that we do. We really try to chop it up and challenge everything that we're doing and make the best decision.
I like what you're talking about, that second business. That's a huge learning curve for business. So we talk, we have a definition of a business as a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And many people say they get to where they're somewhat profitable and they say, yeah, but to really have that lifestyle I want, I need a second location or second business or whatever. But if they haven't built the first one to work without them, that it really strains them to build the second one to the point that they could collapse the whole thing, right? The whole thing apart. And it sounds like, you went through that pain and that struggle, and that's a huge thing, is to have that second business or that second location. You really have to have that first one pretty well on autopilot.
Yeah, you gotta have that foundation piece, right? And
You have the
so
right people, the people, the processes, all of it.
I love pyramids, right? And so I use that a lot in, figuring things out. So you can't put that shiny gold piece at the top if you haven't laid all them layers below it. All those other layers hold everything else up. So
Right.
it's a real good visual for that.
And that's what our 6 steps is. I mean, we kind of slant it, but it's the same thing. You got to build the whole thing.
Nice.
It's foundational. It's building blocks. So yeah, so that's a good. So learning to manage 2 businesses at once, I assume, was also a time constraint for you. I mean, it's one's always distracting from the other. So
Yeah. I think, that definitely is the thing. And we've always, ethically, I don't think you can be the CEO of 2 companies. So I will never be the CEO of 2 companies.
Okay. So you have someone running one of them, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. And
so you're in the parent role, and then you got to, okay.
Yeah.
I think about it as, I have 2 daughters, right? The first one's 4 years older than the other one. I don't know how many kids you had. The first one got 100% of my discretionary time, right?
Yeah.
And then when you have the second one, you're like, wait a minute. Like, I love both of these kids. I want them both to have 100% of my time, but they can't do it. You got to pick and choose. And I got to think having 2 businesses is the same deal.
Yeah. I mean, how do we divide our time, personally and stuff? I've been on a big kick here lately about, spiritual fitness, mental fitness, physical fitness, and just trying to grow as a person ourselves, and how we, the Bible talks about spending 8 hours a day at work and 8 hours on your own time and 8 hours of sleep, trying to really understand that and aligning ourselves with what we should be doing.
Very good. Yeah. Well, I could talk to you offline about mental fitness. I got something else we can talk about there. It'd be interesting to compare notes.
Okay.
Because mental fitness is so much what we, with business owners. And I think people underestimate the impact of the voices in your head.
Yeah.
Which is you talking to yourself, and what you say to yourself, and what you allow others to say, and how it impacts you.
Well, I'm also a huge advocate for coaching, right? I mean, I can never look outside of my body and see what I'm doing. I'm too focused in here. And so when somebody's standing over here, they can see what I'm doing. I'm not seeing that little slight hand movement or whatever, or that slight decision that I just made. So,
okay.
I'll never be able to export my conscience from my body. You know what I mean?
You can't do it.
You got to have a coach to do that.
Not in this life. Maybe in the next one, you look back. So, all right. So we've gone a little bit long here. What's one thing you want people to know about your business or businesses?
I think integrity. That's we're human. We're not going to be perfect, but our intentions are to the fullest integrity that we have in front of us, and just to be human and kind of communicate that when we can. Now, because we are human, we are trying to facilitate automation to help us with that communication as well. So,
okay, excellent. Well, I appreciate you joining me today, Justin. Getting to know more about you and your businesses, and we'll make sure that what's the best way for people to find out about your business? What are websites and things like that?
www.dealergrid.com, and you can click on any of the links in there. We've got a real nice join the team portal with the current positions available, and kind of see everything that we're working on there.
Excellent. We could probably have a whole other discussion about hiring for sure. So,
yeah.
All right. Appreciate it, Justin. We'll talk to you soon.